Zambe monene, zambe nangaye, mosu swazagalite. Don't use that video. Hello everyone, welcome back to Ted and Vero TV. My name is Veronica and this is my husband.
Hi, I'm Ted.
We are so glad you could join us today on another episode of Ted and Vero TV. We will be doing a tag today called Questions Every Interracial Couple Gets Asked.
Yes.
Questions that people ask us when we are walking on the street, when I'm at work, when he's at work, even with our family and friends, the questions that they ask us. So let's begin. Question number 1. How does your family feel about your partner's race? Let's start with you. How does your family feel about me? My race.
My family has accepted my wife with open arms, and honestly, they're perfectly fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I know, sadly, we still have people out there that take issue with
Interracial couples?
Yeah, interracial couples. They have issues with that. And but that isn't my experience at all. My whole family was 100% in support. So I didn't have any issue.
Any struggle.
And
yeah.
frankly, even if I had, that wouldn't have changed my mind. I'm sorry. I love my family and all that, but there's just no way. Nothing's going to keep me from her.
Oh, nice. Well, anyway, when it comes to my family, they are very open-minded. My family is big, but not too big at the same time. I speak of my immediate family. When it comes to my mother, unfortunately, my father passed away, so he didn't get to meet my husband. I'm sure if he did, he would have loved him. My mom is so open-minded. My sisters are all open-minded, and they are so welcoming of him. And they don't see color, I would say. So it's been very, very helpful because at the end of the day, it's the same red blood that flows through him that flows through me. So there is no difference between us. The only difference that there is that he's male, I'm female. And the second difference probably is that he was born in America, I was born in Ghana. And when I say that, is the reference of culture differences.
Yeah.
Other than that, when it comes to being human, there is no big difference. Yeah. So I'm just so grateful that my family is open-minded enough to have accepted him, and his family was also open-minded enough to have accepted me. So
yes.
That question.
Thank you. Thank you to both of our families.
To both of our families, yeah. Exactly. Question number 2. Wouldn't it be easier just to date your own race? Let me answer that to begin with. I really don't think that there is a difference whether it will be easier or difficult. For like I said, the same red blood flows through him, the same red blood flows through me. When it comes to culture, perhaps it would have been easier when it comes to, let's say, how to understand each other. Like, for instance, if I do certain things that my culture is used to doing, if I was dating someone in my culture or in my race, they would have understood that, okay, oh, this is what we do, this is what we do as Black people, this is what we do, but everything can be taught, you know what I mean? He's learning how I was raised and how I do things, and I'm also learning how he was raised and how he's doing things, and it's not that difficult at all. So no, it wouldn't have been easier dating my own race and vice versa, you know what I mean? So, this tag is a bit difficult for me because I really don't see any difference between both of our races, and so it's a bit difficult to actually try to explain that. I will try my best.
Well, the reason these questions come up and the reason that this tag exists among interracial couple videos is because there are plenty of people who do seem to see a difference or think that it's a significant issue. So,
exactly.
But there's a universal humanity in all of us.
Yeah.
So it's not really an issue of would it be easier. It's really just about how you connect. That's the word. Do you have that soul tie? Do you have that meeting of the minds? Are you like-minded? Do you have similar goals? Do you have similar beliefs? Faith is really important.
Yeah.
If you're not both on the same ground
spiritual
when it comes
level.
to your spiritual walk, then there's going to be problems. It's going to be an unequal yoking.
And I really think that is where I also come from in regards to the connection. I think that if you have a strong connection with someone, it doesn't matter whether the person is blue, red, purple, whatever color they are. That's all that matters. A strong spiritual connection, and not just spiritual, other connections as well. Like, are you on the same level mentally and all that kind of stuff? It really helps, because I've dated mainly outside of my race, and those relationships obviously didn't work out because I'm with my husband now. So it really doesn't matter. You know what I mean? So if you are thinking of dating outside of your race, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
As long as you have a strong connection with the person.
And we encourage you to do so. If you're interested in somebody, that there's a real connection, maybe sparks happening there, something that's significant and deep that you think can actually last, stand the test of time, do it. Don't listen to other people discouraging you, you're not supposed to date outside your race or any of these ignorant concepts that
they don't really make sense.
We still have these concepts floating around. It blows my mind. But don't listen to any of that stuff. Honestly, follow your own heart, and go after
who you love.
You want to marry the right person.
The right person.
Because let me tell you, I forget where I heard this. I heard it just recently. But, they say that if you marry the right person, then it will literally be like heaven on earth. But if you marry the wrong person, well, what's the opposite of heaven on earth? It's like a hell on earth.
Yeah.
So this is super important. It's not an issue of I'm going to make this decision based upon what somebody else, my family, my friends, my peers, society wants me to do. Even though maybe I could make this work, but I don't really want to, don't do it. Yeah, do it because it's the right thing to do in your heart, and it's where God is leading you to go.
Exactly. Amen to that.
Right.
Amen to that.
Next question.
So our third question, but what about the children? Aren't you afraid of them getting bullied? Oh, whoa, wow. That was a good one. I am strictly African. I'm not mixed with any other race. And when I first came to this country, I was bullied. I was bullied for the color of my skin. I went to school. I went to a Christian school for that matter. And the girls I went to school with, they didn't understand why my skin was darker than, mainly everyone in the school. And so people called me all sorts of names. And I thank God because of the way my parents raised me. They raised me to believe in myself, to know who I am. And I'm not going to lie to you, some of that actually affected me a little bit growing up, where at one point I questioned whether I was beautiful enough, But as I got older, I realized that, all those bullying and everything that was taking place was actually something that they lacked in themselves,
Yeah.
So when it comes to our children, I have no fear at all. I will raise them in a manner in which they should be able to stand firm and be able to speak for themselves, And I know that Ted and I are praying, and we are together in this, in being able to instill in our children self-love and the love of God inside of themselves, so that when they are out there and someone tells them that, oh, you are mixed with white or you are mixed with black, they will be able to stand firm and say that, no, I am human, I am created in the image of God, and I'm fearfully and wonderfully made.
Amen. Really, I don't even know what to add to that. That was really nice. Yeah, but I think every parent has a healthy concern for their children when they send them out in the world. But, I had some bullying done to me when I was a kid by white people, and I'm white. So, school is a pretty dangerous place when it comes to like being attacked emotionally. When you're a kid, some of the most vicious things come out of the mouths of children and teenagers, and so it's always going to be an element, but I guess we're just counting on God to lead us and help us to be the strong parents that we need to be, so that we can be there for our kids through any of those kinds of situations.
Exactly. So our fourth question, do you only date white? Do you only date black?
I dated Caucasian women before I met my wife, but, I'm by no means, stuck on any particular race. So I would say, no, I don't only
date black.
No.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I've dated other black women before I met and married my wife.
That's true, actually.
So, and I had some casual, one-time coffee dates with other African Americans too. So, I mean, I guess if there's a thing called preferences, and I will say that I think African women are some of the most beautiful women in the world. And my wife being the most beautiful woman in the world, hands down.
All women are truly, truly beautiful.
Yeah, and they are. Of course they are. Yeah. But do I only date African women? Well, I'm done dating for one thing.
Yeah. Well, he's dating me now.
Yeah, because I'm married and that's never going to change.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I don't have a preference either because I've dated out in my race as well. Actually, most of the guys I dated were men in my race, African to be specific. I haven't dated any other, race when it comes to, let's say, African American. But they are wonderful, and I've seen relationships that are thriving. But it just so happened that for some reason the people I dated were in the African race, and I dated 2 more Caucasians before I met my husband. He wasn't really dating, like my husband said, coffee date here and there and just like dinner, and it doesn't really go anywhere. Then I met my husband. So we are both actually really open to other races. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. As long as you have the right heart and the right connections, it doesn't matter.
The other thing I've always been attracted to, though, in particular when it comes to Black women, is they have just this exuberance inside of them. They have this passion for life, and they're open too, and they're extremely intelligent, extremely talented.
No, thanks,
they just have this zest for life, that is really attractive.
Yeah, I'm just grateful that God created women in general, from all races. From all races, when you go to Asia, when you go to Europe, when you come to America, the women are just incredible. So women out there, more power to you. You are loved, you are beautiful, whatever your race is, you are truly, truly incredible. A hand of applause to all women.
And men, keep it real.
Question number 6. Do people stare at you when you go on dates? Do people stare at us? No, here. I haven't seen that here in Oregon as much as I've seen when we were in DC. When we were in DC and we were walking around, I realized that people stared more.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure why, but since we moved here to Oregon, I've actually seen a few interracial couples here, and I think that is something that they are used to, so there isn't a lot of staring. And even when they do, I don't think we mind,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really think about it very much, and that's maybe the advice that I would give to anybody in an interracial relationship who's maybe feeling like they're getting stares or whatever, is I just don't think about it, because if you want to stare, go ahead and stare. You have to be confident and embrace the life that you've chosen for yourself. So.
Exactly, yeah. And then when they stare, just give them a smile. Nothing mean, because that's not what is inside of you. You don't radiate hate, you radiate peace. And so when people stare at you, just radiate peace, and they'll realize that, okay, this is something actually beautiful. And
that's a good point. Usually when we do have stares, it's a positive thing. Yeah. It's not like they're scrutinizing, like, what's he doing with a Black woman, or what's she doing with a white guy? It's not that feeling. It's almost like, whoa, what a nice looking couple, they look really happy together, and that kind of thing.
Then they'll do that. So you have to actually radiate that love and that peace.
You'll get back what you radiate out into the world for the most part.
Exactly. So this question number 7, I feel like it's tied to the other ones that we answered. It says, what made you date outside of your race? Let me rephrase this question. What made me date my husband is his love for God. That's all I can say.
And my dashing good looks.
His love for Christ and his dashing good looks. Yeah. His love for Christ and who he is as a person, and the way he's humble and kind and generous and just an overall a decent human being. That's what made me want to date him. This question is funny. That Ted seasoned his food. Wow. That's Ted season his food. Actually, he does season his food better now. When I first met him, Ted's family is very good with cooking, actually, Yeah. When I first met him, his seasoning was black pepper and salt. But when he met me, he's been using Old Bay, cayenne, parsley, bay leaf, what else do I have?
Garlic salt.
Garlic salt, chicken
Maggie
bouillon, what is it called? What is that thing?
Maggie cubes.
Maggie cubes. He's been using shrimp seasoning. He's been using all sorts of seasoning. So now, yes, Ted seasoned his food now that I'm his life.
Yeah.
It's no longer salt and pepper.
I'm being well trained.
Exactly. And he taught me how to make a good coffee. So the next question. Is it awkward to talk about race with each other? No, it's not awkward at all, is it?
No. No, I don't find it awkward at all. And frankly, if it is awkward and you're in a relationship, I think that there's probably something wrong.
Yeah.
I would assume that most of you out there who are in interracial relationships don't find it awkward to talk about race, and that's part of the reason why you're able to successfully be in such a relationship, because you're comfortable and mature enough to talk about these issues. So it's never been an issue for us.
Yeah, it hasn't been an issue at all, especially during the time. I mean, it's still happening now, but especially during the time of the protests here in the United States, I'll be open with him and I'll tell him my thoughts on what I was feeling, especially when it came to a lot of things that I didn't understand. I'm like, why are they doing this? Black people have gone through enough. And, I'll be open and I'll tell him, and he will feel that same way too. When June 10th recently became a federal holiday, I told him what I felt about that and how it was so important that that became a federal holiday, because Black people being freed from years of persecution and turmoil. And the next day I woke up, I saw he posted Martin Luther King on his Facebook page, and I was actually very excited about that okay, he was open-minded enough to listen to what I had to say. And so I really like that we have able to communicate that kind of stuff. Okay, so this question, Vero, do you ever get asked, can you help me find a white guy? And Ted, do you ever get asked, can you help me find a Black girl? Yes.
You probably way more than me.
Yeah, I mean, some people, I'm not going to say anybody's name. I've been asked before, especially when they meet Ted, they're like, he's such a great guy. How did you, get to be with him? Can you help me find someone? Does he have a brother? I'm like, no, he doesn't have a brother. But to be honest with you, just put yourself out there. And open up your heart that someone will, you'll be able to connect with someone. Just put yourself out there. Go for coffee. Ted and I haven't done a video on how we met yet. We will do that in another video soon. But just put yourself out there. Be ready. What are you looking for? That's the thing.
Yeah. And if you are searching for someone outside of your race, they have dating sites these days that are specifically catered to interracial dating. So, there are so many ways that you can meet just about anybody. You just need to be confident in what you're looking for. Be your best self. Don't try to be something else.
Someone else,
I want to date a Black woman, so I need to kind of be this way so they'll be attracted to me. No. You be yourself, and that's going to give you the best edge, trust me.
Yeah, and you can't hide your character for too long. Whoever you are eventually comes out.
Yeah.
So be yourself. And are you going into a relationship for marriage, or are you going into a relationship for the sake of having fun?
Yeah.
So if you are going to a relationship for long-term and marriage, make sure that when you meet someone, you put it out there. And if they want the same thing, they will stay. And if they don't want the same thing, don't waste your time. Just keep it moving. Yeah. And that's how you actually meet the right person. Yeah. Shout out to my friend Catherine, who encouraged me actually to date Ted, because if it wasn't for her, I probably would not have been in a relationship with him. Because I was like, Catherine,
thank you, Catherine.
I'm not interested. I'm not interested. I don't want
the distance is too much.
I don't want to move.
I don't want to do long distance. I don't want to move.
I don't want to move to Oregon. I love DC so much. But then she said, talk to him, get to know his heart. After talking to him, I realized that, oh man, this guy has a heart for God. And that's the man I've been looking for. Someone who has a heart for God, spirit-filled, And I was like, whoa. So shout out to Catherine. God bless you.
All right. And so I think this might be one of the last questions we have.
The last question we have
is, drum roll.
Ooh, Ted used my head as a drum. Anyway, what is the worst racism you have ever faced as a couple? we haven't faced anything yet, have we?
No, not really. I mean, people have actually been very,
So nice,
very,
yeah.
very supportive and loving. You know, I'm sure that if we could look inside the minds of everyone, we would see some things we wouldn't want to see.
But we choose not to look. We choose to see the positive side.
Yeah.
So we haven't, and I pray we don't ever have to experience that, because I really think that we have come to a place in our society that we have seen the pain that these type of things have caused. And as human beings, I think that we should all allow ourselves to grow up enough not to allow other people to feel the negative things that comes out of us, you know. And so we haven't experienced that. But I know that people have experienced it. Just because you haven't experienced something doesn't mean that someone else has not experienced it. So for anyone, any interracial couple who has experienced racism or any source of negative vibe from others, we truly, truly are with you and we support you. And just know that someone else's opinion does not define who you are, and what or how they think about you does not really matter at the end of the day. It's between you and your spouse, your love, the peace that you give to your children and your family and those around you.
Well said. We've come a long way since, you know, the challenges of Mr. and Mrs. Loving and what they went through.
Yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Loving, for those of you who do not know, were one of the first interracial couples, and they were banned from being married, I believe in Virginia. And actually they moved out of the state, and eventually a law was passed in their name and they were able to go back and get married. If you haven't seen the movie, check it out. Mr. and Mrs. Loving. I think they have it on Netflix, on Prime.
There's two versions, Mr. and Mrs. Loving with Timothy Hutton, and then there's another one just called Loving, which is maybe 2 or 3 years old.
Yeah, but the storyline is the same thing. And so thank you to Mr. and Mrs. Loving for paving the way for a lot of us interracial couples for being together. And today we celebrate our love with this tag, and we celebrate you. Love is a beautiful thing. And above all, being able to be loved by God is a beautiful thing. Knowing that He loves us is truly, truly a blessing. So at this time, I just want to remind you to subscribe and like this video. Share with your family and friends.
Share it.
We love you.
Subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.